and welcome to this tutorial on how to install WordPress on your domain via the Cpanel. Right, so you are going to have to basically go into your Cpanel, which if you've obviously bought your domain and you've got your hosting and you've pointed the domain to the servers as you should, then you should be able to type in your domain and add a /cpanel as such. Let me just show you how. So this is a new domain that I purchased just for basically for this video. Right, so hold on a second. Right, so just to show you guys, this is what's on the server. Absolutely nothing. Okay, so obviously what you need to do, as I said, access the Cpanel. Right, so you just add the /cpanel to the end of the domain, and that should take you to this part here. Now I'm just going to pause it briefly because obviously I'm going to type in my details and it's obviously quite sensitive, so I'll put the video back on once we're inside. See you in there. Right, excellent. So here we are in the Cpanel, and there are a few things which obviously you would need for the WordPress installation. One of them is to access the file manager, and the other one is to create a MySQL database, but we are going to go things step by step. So hopefully by now you've probably downloaded the WordPress files from wordpress.org. If not, obviously I'm going to show you how to do it. But first off, let's access the file manager. Just click on it, and here we are. Obviously we are going to install WordPress where it says public_HTML with the world sign, with a globe sign. Just double click on there, and oops, let me just delete this file. There we go. Okay, so we're going to delete it just for the tutorial purposes. So when you've got a fresh install, you will only have the CGI bin folder. Okay. And this is where we're going to upload the WordPress files. Now let's go to wordpress.org to download it. Here we go. Excellent. Right, so just going to go into Get WordPress. I'm going to download the latest WordPress, and that's downloaded. So now we go back into the file manager. I'm going to click on Upload, and you're going to get this page. Now we can just click and drag the file that was just downloaded and let it obviously upload onto the server. Okay. Now once that's done, obviously we're going to work on extracting the files on the domain, but obviously I will talk you guys through it, and just going to give it a second until it finishes uploading. And we are there. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to click on where it says go back to /home WordPress online. Well, it's going to be your domain. Okay, so just going to click on there to go back, and we can see that the zip file has been uploaded. Okay, now we're just going to click on it, and we are going to extract it. Okay, you can either right click on it and have the options come up, or at the top on the right you've got also the extract button. So we're just going to click on extract. Oh, there we go. If I do it properly. And okay, so we're just going to leave it as we're going to install. We're going to extract it to this directory. So just going to click on extract files, and it tells me that it's all done. It's all complete. So we're going to close it. Now, what it tends to do is create another folder, obviously with the name of the file and with the name of the zip file. In this case, it's WordPress. As we can see, we've got all the WordPress files in a file that says WordPress. Now, this is okay if you're going to have something else on the main part of the domain. I don't know whether you've got some other kind of system or other project and you just want to install WordPress for blogging purposes. Obviously, it's entirely up to you what you want to do with your website. In this case, I'm going to show you guys how to install it on the main domain rather than have it in a subdirectory or in a folder as is the case at the moment. So I'm just going to double click on the WordPress folder, and I'm going to select all the files, and I'm going to move them to public_HTML. Okay, so I'm going to click on move. Now we can see here that the obviously that's the path that it's all the files are. We're just going to remove that and a backslash. Click on move files, and that's done. Now we're just going to click on public_HTML on the left. We can see that all the files are here. Okay. Now if you want, you can remove the WordPress folder as there's nothing in there. Just going to delete it and delete. Okay, right. So every WordPress file is now on the main part of the domain, or on the main domain. Okay. Now, in order to continue, we are going to need a couple of things. Now, the new WordPress runs on PHP, so we also need to change the PHP version. Okay, so we're going to go back onto the main Cpanel tab. Here we go, and let's do the PHP first. Okay, so you should have an option that says PHP selector. Okay, obviously it depends on who your host is. Now in this case it's on 5.6 because I changed it earlier, but sometimes obviously depending on your host, it might be on 5.4 as a default. Okay, so we can click on update just to be on the safe side, and we are going to go back to home. Okay, now I mentioned at the beginning that we are going to need to create a MySQL database. Now we're going to use the MySQL database wizard, but I'm just going to click on there so you guys can see what it looks like. But we're going to move back. We're going to come back onto this because I want to show you guys what's now on the main domain. So if I go to the domain, right, let's click on there. And you can see that it's ready for the setup. This is the setup configuration file. Remember that there was absolutely nothing on there in a couple of minutes ago. So now we're going to just click on the language that you want to set it up in. So obviously we're going to do it in English. Well, let's do English UK. Here we go. And continue. Right. Obviously here it's telling us that we need to have a MySQL database. Now let's just go back onto the MySQL tab, the database wizard, which I just opened, remember. So here we're gonna give the database a name, right? So let's put, I don't know. Remember that this is just for the tutorial, so obviously you guys need to give it a name which is secure and obviously no one's gonna guess. So here we're gonna put, I don't know. Actually, now let's put tutorial, okay? And then we're going to click on next step, and we're going to have a username, and we're going to give it the same name, tutorial. Let's create a password now. And okay, so I'm going to create the user. Now what I tend to do, because I can be quite forgetful in terms of usernames and database, I tend to leave this page for the next part of the WordPress setup. So I'm going to go back onto WordPress, okay, and click on Let's Go. Right, so it's asking us for the database name. So I'm going to go back onto the MySQL database tab, select the database name and copy it, go back to the WordPress tab and paste it into where it says database name. And I'm going to do the same for the username. Just go back, select, copy, go back to WordPress, and then we're going to paste it in. Okay, now obviously make sure there's no spaces, Now the password, remember I'm just doing this for the tutorial. Okay, so before I click on submit, I go back onto the MySQL database wizard tab, select all privileges and click on next step. Okay, so I've got the green light. Now I'm going to go back onto WordPress setup configuration tab that I have open. Now I'm going to click submit. I'm going to leave the database host as localhost and a prefix as it is. Submit. Alright, sunshine. It's all done. We just need to run the installation. And this is where you give your website a title. So let me just, as I said, for the purposes of the video, just going to give the site a title, username. So let's put my name, for example, and I'm just going to copy the password. Remember that unless you're typing in your own one, obviously the ones that the security system generates are, they are quite complicated. So make sure that you either that you memorize it, or you make a copy of it somewhere safe. Okay, now obviously you're gonna type in the email. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna just click on install WordPress. And it's been installed, so we can now go on login. And remember, I just mentioned the password, so it's in there. Let's just click on login, and here we go. WordPress has now been installed on your domain. Now you can visit the site, and it's going to say, or as you can see, obviously WordPress has now been installed, and now it's just a matter of you uploading your theme, uploading your content. If you have issues with that, I'm going to create videos on how to upload, select themes or upload themes. And yeah, so that is basically how you install WordPress via the cPanel and manually without using an automatic installer. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it's helpful. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Feel free to sign up to my newsletter for anything WordPress. Obviously, I'll be sending out newsletters with recommendations for basically how to set up WordPress, how to make money with WordPress. I mean, WordPress isn't just about blogging anymore. You can create your affiliate marketing business, your own business website, or let's say your own kind of platform where, if you want to list anything, I don't know, have a classified site, I don't know, you can do so many things with WordPress. And obviously I'll be happy to share my thoughts on all of this and obviously my recommendations. Thank you very much, guys. Speak to you soon.